Goodman, and this is Martial Arts Mania. Tonight we're celebrating the retirement of Sifu John Cho. I started with John Cho in the late 1980s when he was still down at the Chinese Consolidated Benevolent Association, aka School of Confucius. And after that, he moved to a school at the location of Fresno and Clinton. I helped open that school 30 years ago. So tonight, some of his students and peers will be speaking about him as we wish him well as he retires from teaching at the Kung Fu School.
Of Sifu's book signing. You know, he's pretty famous now in the artsy community as far as his poems. It's a nice little gift that he's going to give back to you. And on that same note, I want to thank everybody who's here today celebrating Sifu's retirement. And then I'm just going to refer to him as Sifu. You know I'm going to be talking about John. I want to thank Fresno City College that kind of helped us put this together. This is great. Sifu didn't think we were going to fill the place, or at least get halfway through it. And that's all right. They'll wander in. The CCBA, or Chinese Consolidated Benevolent Association, for donating some funds to help provide food and drinks and all that good stuff. And friends and family and students of Sifu John Cho donated, and there's too many to actually name out, so just, thank you very much. So I want to give you guys a applause for that. So enough of me babbling on right now. Rest assured I'll be talking later. I'm going to give the floor to Sifu, or the podium to Sifu, and he's going to give some opening remarks. Lynn's going to get that situated. Yeah. Sifu, that's your cue. Use the guardrail. Use the guardrail.
Okay, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight to Ryan's retirement party. I worked to put together a couple of PowerPoint slides, and so I'll go through that first. So I put together one for Fresno City College, but since there's so few Fresno City College people, it's going to be really fast. I'm trying to be funny, but maybe it's not so funny. But, and then on the Kung Fu side part, it's much longer. So let me start with the Fresno City College slide. On this one, I'm reading. When I first started here at Fresno City College, I've been here full-time for about 20 years, and about 8 years part-time before that. And I have to actually credit my wife, Ling. She's sitting over there. So you can lift her hand. She was teaching a Chinese class here part-time. And so what happened was, I was teaching at Chowchilla High School. And so what I was teaching at Chowchilla High School was basically in the physical sciences, chemistry, physics, and world cultures class. Anyway, so I wasn't planning to say this, but since I have the mic, I'll just go ahead and say it. I got fired the first year. The reason I got fired the first year was, I think it's really political, because me and an English teacher, we went with the union side, and I think the superintendent fired us, but not the other people. So anyway, that opened the door, so I came to City College and started teaching one class in Asian American Studies. The class I was teaching was Asian American 1. Okay. After 8 years, I was, I guess, lucky enough to get a full-time position. And when I went to after the final interview that was supposed to go with the president and the dean of instruction, at that time they asked me like, how did I feel about Asian American studies? And so without really thinking, I just blurted out, that's my baby. I mean, like, that was my baby, was that I added a couple other classes into the program as an adjunct instructor. So I could kind of like help develop it type of thing. So what you see in the pictures are kind of like we're on campus. So I use these as the graphics for the classes. And right now we offer a degree in Asian American Studies. Next slide. Okay, on the left it says Asian Cultural Village. So when I got the full-time position, my brother here, he's right there. Will, stand up or raise your hand. Okay. So anyway, I got the full-time position. So I told my brother, and because I'm almost 70, my memory's not too good, so give it a grain of salt. So I asked Will, hey Will, why don't you give me $300 or $500? It's one of those amounts. And so he agreed to it, and that's how we started the Asian American Month as the Asian American Week. We set up a foundation account and took the money and started hosting events. So that first one, the Asian Cultural Village, we did it kind of like on a weekend type of thing. And so I tried to get, you see the different flags. There's one for South Vietnam and Laos before the communists took over, you know, politically correct type of thing. And so it evolved. We had a celebration of martial arts, and I decided, let's put everything together. And that became Asian Fest. And specifically, I made it grammatically incorrect, so I put Asian Fest as one word and capitalized the F. Okay, so that's kind of like how Asian Fest started, and Miley Martin right there, give her a hand. Yeah, really so the graphic on the right is the things that we've done for Asian American men. On the left, it's about 30 years ago. You know, I think it was 1990, but maybe it's 91. Let me tell you this. Last year, when we had COVID, it really kind of hit me because we were closed for like 4 months out of the year, you know, like in terms of losing money so far, because we kept paying rent regardless. And so last year I was thinking, gosh, should I just close the school down? But I decided not to close the school down, and this is where I think you guess why? Okay. I guess why I didn't close the school down was this is kind of like a big part of my life, and I didn't want to end because of COVID. So I told myself, let me finish out this year, you know, and so it'll be kind of like a little bit more on my terms. That's what I decided. Okay. But oops, go back to the picture on the left. You can't really make it out, but it basically said like Zhonghua. It's like the Chinese Martial Arts Club. That's why I initially named it. Later on, I changed it to John Joseph Kung Fu School. Okay? And so, the top sign on the right is written by my dad. So my dad wrote that. I created 2 characters at the bottom. So, okay, next slide. Let me go through the pictures from the top left. I went on Google to look up Great Star Theater. And the Great Star Theater is a theater in Chinatown. We used to live right across the street from the Great Star Theater. You know, our apartments face across. And so I guess they use it for performing arts now. Why do I put the Great Star Theater? My parents moved into the valley when I was about 5 years old. You know, so we came in the valley, but periodically they would go back to San Francisco to visit and so forth. And when they visit, you know, they basically go visit people's talk. If we had time, we would go watch Kung Fu movies. So I thought, oh, you know what I mean? In other words, kind of like sticks in my mind type of thing, identity-wise. The picture on the middle, actually that's my dad. On the front row, second from the left. That's my dad. I think, but I'm not definitively sure, I think this might be Loveland, who was a trolley-foot instructor up in SF. Okay, so that's that. The pictures here, I can point out. That's Mr. Lim. So I started taking Kung Fu lessons. That's me on the bottom left. That's my brother on the bottom right. At Fresno State. Okay. So studying with him, and that's a picture of me in the middle. Like, you know, I can't kick like that now. Like this eye. Age plays a factor. Okay. The picture on the right is also at Fresno State. I was performing with the broadsword. The picture on the top right, seated in the middle, that's Mr. Sen Mawei. He was Mr. Lin's instructor, so I went to study with him during summer, and then the following year I stayed in Taiwan for about a year. But actually, again, that's where I met my wife, so Kung Fu influenced me, who I married. Okay, next slide. This is some of the students that I've had over the years, okay? The top left one is at the Confucius School, at the CCBAB building, but the building's been sold, so I think it's a mosque now, so I'm pretty sure the painting of Confucius is not there anymore. But we used to go and have classes like every Sunday morning, so maybe about 3 hours, like 9 to 12 or something like that, okay? Once a week, okay? Bottom picture here, there's with the Santa hat, Double Yang and Reggie Lamborn. They were my first 2 black belts at the Kung Fu school. And so I think the test was super long. You know, it's easier now because I've aged. So, okay. Picture at Kung Fu school. This picture here is kind of like the last picture we had, kind of like our black belts. We had Ethan, who's here, and then Olivia, who's up at UC Davis. Okay, next slide. Why did I start the Kung Fu school? The reason I started the Kung Fu school, those 2 trophies, the ones on the far wall. What happened was Tatma Wang, he had kind of like an international Chinese martial arts tournament, and we went up to compete. Okay, they had students from East Coast, from Baltimore, Anthony Bo, Tai Yum. They had John Fung from Canada, Vancouver, Canada. They had some people from Asia, I'm not really sure. There was an instructor from Brazil. Okay, so what happened at this tournament was, okay, you see Hong in the picture? Hong, raise your hand. Okay, Hong right there. Okay. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Big Trouble in Little China. Have you seen that movie? I haven't seen it. You've seen it, I haven't seen it. But supposedly, there's a scene in that film, that actor is Carter Wong. Okay? Carter Wong was making a lot of movies. You know, like when I was in Taiwan, you see his face on Big Billboard. Okay. So, anyway, what happened at the tournament, we entered the advanced party for Hongkong, and it was by weight. So I can't recall how many people, but I'm sure there's more than 10 competitors. Okay? So what happened is Hong got into the finals. And so we fought that evening in the finals, you know, it's kind of like tournament-wise. And so it was like this. He was on the stage, okay? So Hong's sitting here, and I'm behind Hong. Hong, you probably don't remember. Okay, Carter Wong was there. That was not Carter Wong's student. Carter Wong's student was the instructor for the other guy. But we lost, but it's okay. Because afterwards, you know, Carter Wong, you know, rushes over, shakes hands, so, wow, okay. On this picture on the right, Kai Bang, our style is Shaolin Long Fist. If you guys look at the book, it's written by Dr. Yang Chun-Ming, his student in the book, Jeffrey Volk. In other words, he's a white guy. So anyway, he was the judge for the advanced Lorentz styles. They divided into Lorentz and Seven styles. Kai took second place. I think the competitors at least 6. So when I came back to Fresno, part of me's thinking, wow, we did pretty good. We only practiced once a week, but you got second place here, and second place there. So that's why we're going to school. If one of my friends said they wanted more hours of teaching, no, just because of those 2 trophies. I basically kept those 2 trophies and then, well, let's give it a shot. So that's why I went to school. Okay, next slide. Okay, I want to identify gifts from my family. Okay, we can start off with the top left. So this is from my wife. It's kind of like a statue of Damo. Supposedly he's the one that brought martial arts, Indian monk, to China. Okay. Bottom left is a drawing by my daughter, Elaine. She drew Bruce Lee. Okay. Let me go on this before I get the middle. The top picture was my son. He did charcoal drawing in a class, I think, at Fresno State. So he gave that to me. We had it outside the school, and then some people graffitied it. And what I did was I cut off the graffiti and moved it inside. So that part. The next picture was purchased by my sister. I opened another school at Weston Bullard for about 3 years, and my sister gave me the painting for that school. The bottom right, actually my dad, when my sister-in-law, my wife's sister went back to Taiwan, from Taiwan, my dad says, buy these flags for different people and different things. So on this one, it has my brother's name. Well, you can't see it.
I can't see 2 feet ahead of me.
It's here, like next to it. In Mandarin it says, Wushu Ting Nan. What it means like martial arts at kind of like a high level. So this is something that we can aspire to. Okay. The last 2 paintings. The top one, over there on the table, it's embroidered. It's something my mom brought for me. Wish well. I'm guessing it might be Westlake and Hangzhou, but I'm not very sure to represent that. Okay. So I'll talk about that a little bit. And then on the bottom, we've had this flag forever. My dad made the drum stand. We've painted it, we've changed the wheels, but basically he cut a circular, so the drum fits into it. They have it today. It's still good after 30 years. Okay? So the point on this is really their wishes. They wish me well on this venture. Next slide. Lion dance in the community. We've been doing lion dance in the community for a long time. This is a picture of the group on the left. Bottom picture, Asian Fest. On the right, Celebration Night Show. Actually, that picture of me, I went online and found it. That's where I got that picture. That's me at Show Station. It's a restaurant. So, anyway. Okay, next. Kickboxing, I guess it's something for me to brag about, like a little bit. So, about a month ago, we were at Golden Harbor ordering the food with Glenn and Reggie. And so, conversation-wise, I asked them, what do you think I'm most proud of? Glenn, do you remember what you said?
The belts?
I said, no, it's not the belts. We got what I'm most proud of, and the kickboxers are here, that we're competitive in Muay Thai. We are not a Muay Thai school. We're just a flat-out Kung Fu school. But so the idea is like, if you're flexible, you could adapt, you could learn things. I would say for the last 10 amateur fights, I think we have a winning record. It's either 6-4 or 7-3. That's winning. Good enough. Okay, let me point out some things. There's Hong on the far right. He got 3 of the belts that we put over there. But Hong, we want to give you the belts to take home. Get up there. We really appreciate that during all these years, Hong let us put the belts on the wall. Okay? Those are the belts there. The picture on the top right is S.T. Herb. You know what I mean? And so, Lynn, you want to tell the funny story last time we was here? What? Oh, okay. He doesn't remember the funny story. Okay. So, anyway, right now he's in Hawaii. And so he came back, he wanted to have lunch, so we went to have pho and clova supper. Okay. And so S.T. is telling Lynn the story, and maybe part of it's made up, but he said when he came to our school that basically I told him, if you want to fight, I train you. If you don't, go somewhere else. Something like that. That's what he said. But I really don't think that way. People come train, like, we need the money, so please. So, I don't know. Maybe that's not real. Okay. The picture here on the lower right is Jiamua Capria. Can you raise your hand? That's his sister. I would say, in terms of the Hmong American community, Jiamua was pretty famous. We were not his first instructor because he trained with Linda Bracey, and later he trained with Matt Smith at Pacific Martial Arts in Japanese Ohio. But I think we helped him with the belts. I think 2 are IKF belts, and 1 is ISKA belt. And so, Priya, did I give the belts to you and your mom? What happens, like, unfortunately passed away from illness. And so one time I was at, I think, full 90. And so I saw Priya and the mom, and I said, wait here. So I went back to school, got the belts, and gave it to them. Because what happened was, like, when we won the belt, you got the belt, but I paid money to have extra belts. So I just gave him the belt. I said, this means more to you. And then the picture on the middle is Kale. Kale, you want to raise your hand? Okay. Again, we're kind of like in the middle. Kale was my brother's student in karate. So he asked, can you train kickboxing? Okay, so we're training kickboxing. But I would say he won the IKF belt. Tony, stand up. I really give the credit to Tony for winning. You know what I mean? So he did the training camp. He took him into kind of MMA. That's it. How big was it? Look at it this way. The best amateur super heavyweight in LA beat by a kid from Fresno. I think that's big. Thanks, Tony. Mission statement. This is what I've had at my kung fu school for a long time. So I'll just read it in case you can't see it. To teach Chinese martial arts in a fair, respectful, and honorable way, to improve the health, develop martial skills, cultivate a positive outlook, and heighten the confidence of our students, to contribute and be supportive of our community. Okay, so underneath that, I say, our door closes this month. Probably by Christmas Eve, there's no more John Cho's Kung Fu School. I'm fine with that. I am. Okay, long time. So, our school, Cho 1, John Cho's Kung Fu School, I'm really happy that Reggie and Lynn are in your school. Okay, so they picked the name Long Fist Association. You see a picture of them. The sign above was designed by my daughter, and they want to take it with them. So That's fine. at the beginning, you guys were thinking, why is he retiring? And at the end, this is why he's retiring. Part of the thing, like, you know, my excuse for everything is, you know what it used to be? I'm 60. But I can't use that anymore because I'm almost 70. Actually, I forgot one part. So I need to call up Ong, Tony, Alfredo, Teddy. Please come up. Tony, Alfredo. There you go. Alfredo, take this off. Tony, take this off. Teddy, take this off. Okay. I said already, thank you very much for being part of our school. Thank you very much for winning these belts. And he has put on the wall for 25 years. So, thank you, Hong. Hong is our first kickboxer, and like I said, we're very proud of you, so thank you very much. Here's a plaque that we had on the wall for Tony, for helping on the kickboxing. These focus mitts, I want to give to Teddy. Teddy, focus mitts are yours. I've had these focus mitts for about 25 years. We used this when we were helping with Hong. Teddy is one of my favorite kickboxers. I was thinking, like, why should I say he's the favorite kickboxer? Because his record is not so good. But that doesn't matter. He's my favorite kickboxer because he's very technical. And I sort of consider myself along that same line, technical. And in addition to that, he's very respectful. I really appreciate that, Eddie. How many years have you been at school? It's like 15 years or something?
2005.
Oh, okay. That's close to 15 years. Were you in high school then?
I just finished high school.
Okay, so he's been around with us for a long time, so I appreciate being part of our team. Alfredo, he's our latest kickboxer. We might fight again this year, coming up. I just gave him my hat.
It's called Sifu Has Left the Classroom for John Cho. Today I cried because I heard Sifu has left the classroom. That night I paced the classroom alone, punching at walls, kicking at shadows, because I heard Sifu has left the classroom. In the morning I dried my tears with my gi, damp with sweat, and I remembered his teachings, and I understood my error. Endings are only beginnings in disguise, and I was no longer sad. You see, even though Sifu has left the classroom, his teachings remain written in the pages of our hearts forever. Thank you, John Cho.
Is there anyone else who wants to speak? For the rest of you, get your stories ready.
Hi, I'm Debbie Goodman, and I started studying Kung Fu with John Cho around 1989. I was still at the School of Confucius at Tulare and Waterman. And I helped open the school at Fresno and Clinton. So of course, I have a couple of Sifu stories. Most of them revolve around Chinese New Year. And if you've never done Chinese New Year, you have no idea. for 3 weekends in a row, usually in February. We would go around town to all the different Chinese-owned establishments and do the lion dance and set off fireworks. And although it was a good time, by the time we were winding down that third weekend, I was like punch drunk. But we were driving through West Fresno, I guess, downtown, Chinatown. And at the time I was driving a Chevy Celebrity, and I could fit 6 people in the car. So it was Sifu, 4 of the guys, and me. I'm, redheaded. And so we get over to Chinatown, and Sifu says, "People are staring at you, Debbie." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Are you kidding? A white woman with Asian males in her car driving around?" And I said, "Well, maybe I should get some flame decals and put them on this gray Chevy Celebrity. These are my homies." So, but then there was a time that we got a phone call from Count Mao Wong up in San Francisco. And he had a television show that was syndicated around like the United States and I guess Hong Kong, things like to Cantonese-speaking populations. It was called Kung Fu Theater. And he invited us to come up and be on the show. So, of course, Sifu was worried, what if I don't know what to say, Debbie? And I said, "Oh, don't worry, Count Mao Wong will guide you. He'll ask you questions, and, you just answer it." So we get up there, I think Count Mao Wong asked one question, and Sifu just rolled for like 20 minutes. But that is what inspired me to create my TV show called Martial Arts Mania. In 2012, the Community Media Access Collaborative opened down in downtown Fresno. It used to be the Metropolitan Museum. And I joined, and I came up with this brilliant idea that really wasn't too far off from what we did on Kung Fu Theater. And I presented it to the board, and I said, the show has been done before. I said, but it's never been done with a woman host. And they said, "We love it." So I started, and it was just going to be local here in Fresno. I was going to invite local school owners to come on the show and talk about their style and maybe demonstrate a little bit. Of course, Sifu was one of my best guests. We did a superb show about Chinese New Year. But ironically enough, I've been trying to break into Hollywood for about 8 years at that point in time. Oh, I want to be a writer. You'd send out scripts and, you just try to get it any way that you could. I was a seat filler at some of the award shows, hoping to get spotted and discovered or whatever. Oddly enough, that was my break-in Hollywood. I interviewed people like Eric Lee, who introduced me to friends of his, and one day I get a phone call from a producer, James Wilson, whose brother is Don the Dragon Wilson. And he says, "I'm coming out with a new martial arts movie. Would you like to come down to LA and interview the stars of my movie?" Don the Dragon Wilson, Cynthia Rothrock. Well, we kind of dickered back and forth as to when I could come down and they would be available. And he says, "Well, Cynthia Rothrock is available on this day, but Don the Dragon Wilson isn't. Don the Dragon Wilson is available on this day, but Cynthia isn't." And finally I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "I have been dying to get an interview with James Liu." If you guys know who James Liu is, he was in Big Trouble in Little China. He was like the head of the Chang Sings, the big struggling guy. I hope you won't mind me saying that. But anyway, I said, "If you can get me an interview with James Liu, I'll come down when he can do it. Whichever one of your stars is available, that's who I'll interview." Not only did he get me an interview with James Liu, it was at James Liu's house, and James Liu made dinner for us. I mean, this was like a dream come true. But anyway, it's taken me places I otherwise probably wouldn't have been able to go. So that's my John Cho story. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Reggie Lamborn. I like long walks on the beach. My favorite color is mahogany. Just throwing that out there. Well, I'm married. I'm happy. She's so lucky to have me. I've known Sifu since I was 11 years old, and I'm 40 now. I guess you could say he's like a father figure to me. So I just want to tell a couple stories, three stories to be exact. Slide. Kung Fu school. That's where I met him. He had black hair. Jet black hair. Unnaturally jet black hair. Black hair that came from a bottle. Nonetheless, of course I looked up to him, only because I was 11 years old. He was probably 40 then, I don't know. Slide, 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 slide. The picture? Okay, the picture didn't show up, I don't know why. So, imagine, go back, imagine a scene here where you have Sifu John Cho and me, younger, 20 years younger. And Sifu has orange hair and fake tattoos and a vest, and I have purple sunglasses on. Not that one, go back. You do? Yeah. Oh, we gotta find it. It has to complete the story.
Keep going.
So Mike, and if you talked about being voluntold to do things, volunteered, the master became, the victim because I flipped it on him. I said, wouldn't it be cool if you dressed up for Halloween? What if like you showed up like dyed hair and tattoos, totally like flipped the script. And I played it up so well, they did it. And if Lynn can find that picture, oh my God. I take full pride in that picture. Okay. Everybody who's ever done martial arts, Sifu, ever did martial arts,
Let's go, guys.
Let's go. You guys have to come up, obviously.
Howard?
You too, Howard.
Yeah, Howard.
Don't make me call you out. Sensei's up front. Sensei's up front.